Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us again on this Saturday afternoon for our daily English news edition. I am Daniel Cook, your host, Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m., presenting a translated version of today's top news stories. Around 2.5 kilometers of the Durres coastline has been polluted by a considerable amount of oil that has just been dumped or spilled in the sea. It is not known yet whether the pollution was accidental or deliberate. The spill also polluted the sand, a fact that was noticed by the citizens. The Minister of Environment, Korce, personally went and inspected the situation today. He expressed regret that it was not prevented and said that those responsible for the pollution will be held liable. He made this comment: "The situation is grave. A considerable amount of oil has been spilled in the sea, and the sand has also been polluted. The environmental institution and the police will investigate. There are 2 ships anchored, and one of them polluted the sea. Those responsible for the pollution will be discovered and will be held liable," said Minister Korce. The Durres Police Department has already launched an investigation into the case, and the authorities will verify every ship in the Durres port and every ship that has sailed in the polluted area in the last 24 hours. The Socialist Party has begun a tour of meetings in which the government's achievements in the past 2 years will be presented. The tour began in Korce, where Rama gave a summary of what he called the cleaning of Albania from crime, corruption, and informality. Admitting that there is still a lot of work to be done in the Albanian economy, Prime Minister Rama announced the next operation of the government, which involves the issuance of property titles in the villages without red tape. He defended the operations of his government so far, saying that there is still a lot of work yet to come. Rama encouraged his party members not to merely speak about employment, but to focus on the necessity of modernization in the country. The tour was announced by Rama during the last meeting of the Socialist Parliamentary Group, in which he said that he will hold meetings with all of the party structures in the field, along with the Socialist MPs and other party leaders. The citizens who apply for employment in the public administration tend to have low level of education. The director explains that despite the high number of applicants, there are still 280 vacancies. She explains that many applicants are eliminated during the first phase of competition for the job due to their low level of education. In many cases, no one is selected for the job position, and the administration reopens the competition once again. A few days ago, Prime Minister Rama even declared that about 20% to 50% of the competitions fail because there is no winner deemed qualified for selection. It was in this context that the Prime Minister made his statement that the education system in Albania is producing phony degrees and disbalanced labor markets. The economic experts are speculating that the downward revision of Albania's expected economic growth by the Bank of Albania and the EBRD indicates the difficulty that the economy is facing. They say that the consequences of this difficulty are being felt by the citizens. The experts are pessimistic regarding the impact that the recent decision of the Bank of Albania will have on the economy. They are not convinced that reducing the base interest rate will give the intended boost to the economy needs. Some have expressed that structural reforms are needed. The governor of the BOA has urged the government to undertake structural reforms, saying that the future of the economy depends upon it. In an interview for Ora News, the vice chairman of the Democratic Party said that they have prepared a platform for ruling the country. The Democrats seem to be hoping for early elections, and with that goal in mind, they are in the last phase of preparing their program. Mr. Paloka said that holding early elections is not the goal of the opposition, but rather a necessity for the country in these dire conditions. He added that when corruption, favoritism, and poverty are ruling the country, early elections are the only solution. He gave assurance that the Democratic Party will not be satisfied by denouncing corruption publicly, but they will follow every legal path against it. Mr. Paloka restated the attitude of the opposition that the government must be removed by any possible democratic means, including civil disobedience. On Monday, the Democratic Party will gather its leadership to discuss the program with the leaders of its departments. The European Commission has set November 10th as the final date for the presentation of Albania's progress report. Previously, the EC had declared that they would publish the report in early October, and later they set October 24th as a second date. The presentation was then postponed again to November 5th, but that date conflicted with the elections in Turkey. The EC has explained there are several postponements with the refugee crisis and EU's busy agenda. The European Commission is expected to give a more detailed report on all the Western Balkan countries aspiring to join the European Union. They have set 5 conditions for Albania, of which the justice reform is the highest priority. The Albanian Minister of Culture has asked for the membership of Kosovo in the International Organization for Cultural Heritage, UNESCO. During her speech, Minister Kumbaro said that Kosovo's membership is not only needed, but well-deserved. She said, Kosovo's membership in UNESCO is not only necessary, but more than deserved. Kosovo, with its history, its people, its landmarks, and its culture, has remained a vital part of the cultural mosaic of the Balkans. All the other countries of the region are members of UNESCO, and it would be absurd for a family member of the Balkans to be excluded from the Organization of Culture and Education. Culture knows no administrative bounds. Culture is not protected by exclusion. On the contrary, it is enriched by exchange and inclusion. This is the essence of UNESCO, said Kumbaro. We invite Serbia to seize this opportunity and to prove that it has the spirit for cooperation. We invite Serbia to cut the ties of a dark past and look toward a European future, in which Serbs and Albanians walk together. Kosovo is now recognized by 111 states of the United Nations and is a member of many other international organizations, said the Minister of Culture. A movement from the SMI called Women for Integration has asked for increased awareness against violence against women. During a meeting with a group of women from Patos, the SMI MP Monica Krui-Madi encouraged all women to denounce violence and maltreatment. She said, violence against women is a widespread problem in Albania, and for this reason, it must be denounced. By reporting the violence, a mother can raise her children more safely and educate the new generation. We need to fight harder against this negative phenomenon that affects the Albanian family and society so much. We need to have an equal society in order to progress toward the EU. The chairwoman of the movement, Clyda Josha, also highlighted the necessity of treating women and men equally. That concludes our edition for this evening. Thank you for joining us. Please be with us again on Monday for more translated news. Thanks. Have a great weekend.